Reinstall the air horn gasket and air horn, holding down on the pump plunger assembly. To ease installation, insert a thin screwdriver between the air horn gasket and the main body to raise the TPS adjustment lever over the sensor. Loosely install all the air horn screws. Tighten the screws evenly, working from the center outward in a crisscross pattern. Reinstall the two front carburetor mounting bolts and tighten them securely. Reinstall the air cleaner mounting stud and tighten it hand tight. Reconnect the vacuum hose for the choke pull-off. Place the TPS plunger through the hole in the air horn and reposition the accelerator pump lever. Using a needle nose pliers or a small screwdriver between the pivot pin and the air horn, carefully pry the pivot pin back through the pump lever until it is flush with the housing. Using your hand, reinstall the choke rod into the lower choke lever by twisting slightly while holding the lever over with a small screwdriver. Install the upper choke lever back into the choke rod. Position the lever onto the end of the choke shaft, making sure the flats on the shaft align with the flats in the lever, and reinstall the retaining screw. When properly installed, the lever will point to the rear of the carburetor. Plug in the MC solenoid and TPS electrical connectors. The last step is to check the TPS adjustment. This step must be performed with a digital 10 megohm input voltmeter. In the appropriate service manual for your vehicle, or in the instructions included with the new throttle position sensor, locate the voltage specification. Then, back probe the center and lower terminals of the TPS connector as demonstrated. Set your voltmeter on the low voltage scale and connect the leads for your voltmeter to the back probe connectors. With the air conditioning off and the idle speed control plunger retracted, turn the ignition switch to the run position. Read the TPS voltage. Some vehicles, such as ours, will require it to be adjusted with the choke on the high step of the fast idle cam. If it is within specifications, you're done. If not, you must remove a small tamper-resistant plug that covers the TPS adjustment screw. To do so, drill a hole in the plug with a 5/64 drill bit. Be careful so as not to drill too far and damage the TPS adjustment screw. Insert the number 8 sheet metal screw in the hole drilled. Using a pliers, pull on the screw to remove the plug. Use a special TPS adjustment tool to bring the voltage within specifications. On our vehicle, the specification is 0.97 volts on the high step of the fast idle cam. Always make sure your final adjustment is made by turning the screw in a clockwise motion. Once adjusted, place a drop of thread locking compound in the adjustment hole and reinstall the new tamper-resistant plug supplied with the new TPS until it is flush with the boss on the carburetor. Remove your voltmeter and back probe pins and you're done. Replacing the throttle position sensor on fuel-injected vehicles is much easier. Remove whatever components are in the path of access to the TPS. Unplug the electrical connector from the old TPS. A small screwdriver may be used to ease the unlocking of the connector clip. Remove the screws that mount the TPS to the throttle shaft. Compare the old and new TPSs to be sure of the correct replacement. Install the new TPS using the screws removed earlier. Inspect the electrical connector for signs of broken or cracked wires or corrosion on the terminals. If any is found, repair connector or clean corrosion before reconnecting. Plug in the electrical connector, making sure it is fully seated in the TPS. Back probe the wires on the TPS just as during the carburetor type of replacement. Connect your digital voltmeter to the probes to check the adjustment. Turn the ignition key to the run position. Note the reading on the voltmeter. If it is within specifications, you're done. If not, simply loosen the mounting screws, Reposition the TPS until voltage is within specifications and retighten the screws. Test drive the vehicle once completed to be sure of correct installation.
To replace a throttle position sensor that is located in a carburetor, begin by turning off all the accessories including the ignition switch. Remove the air cleaner assembly. Disconnect the mixture control solenoid and the throttle position sensor electrical leads. Disconnect and remove the choke linkage from the carburetor. Remove the accelerator pump lever and linkage. Next, remove the throttle position sensor plunger. Remove all vacuum lines connected to the top of the carburetor. Remove the two front mounting bolts. Next, remove the air cleaner mounting stud. Remove all the air horn screws. Lift the air horn up and away from the carburetor main body. Remove the old throttle position sensor and spring from the main body. Install the new spring and throttle position sensor into the carburetor. Next, reinstall the air horn gasket and the air horn. Start all of the air horn screws and tighten evenly. Reinstall and tighten the two front mounting bolts. Thread the air cleaner stud back into the carburetor. Reconnect all vacuum hoses. Next, reinstall the throttle position sensor plunger and the accelerator pump lever. Reinstall the choke linkage, making sure the choke lever points to the rear of the carburetor. Reconnect the mixture control solenoid and throttle position sensor electrical leads. Lastly, check the new throttle position sensor's adjustment using a digital voltmeter. Once the throttle position sensor has been replaced, the sensor may need to be adjusted. Let's review the steps involved in adjusting the sensor. First, locate the throttle position sensor voltage adjustment in a service manual or in the new sensor's instructions. Next, back probe the throttle position sensor's electrical connection. Connect the digital voltmeter to the back probe pins. Turn the ignition switch to the on position. Observe and compare the meter reading to the specification given. Remove the throttle position sensor adjustment plug. Adjust the sensor to the required specification. Using a liquid thread locker, install the new throttle position sensor adjustment plug. Lastly, remove the voltmeter leads and back probe pins from the electrical connection. To replace a throttle position sensor found on a fuel-injected vehicle, follow these steps. Remove the electrical connection from the throttle position sensor. Remove the mounting screws and the throttle position sensor from the throttle body. Install the new throttle position sensor. Inspect and reconnect the sensor's electrical lead. Back probe the throttle position sensor connector. Next, connect the voltmeter leads to the connector. Turn the ignition key to the on position. Observe and record the meter reading referring to a manual for specifications. Adjust the throttle position sensor until it falls within specifications.